Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have the continuation of the story from our brother, who was sharing with us his life journey, the pain, anguish and suffering that he has been through. In this very story, our brother tells us how he made his money and the kind of things that led him to this path that he chose. He talks about the kind of life and treatment the wife gave him after he lost his job, and even went as far as coming to the house late and even preventing him from touching her in the bedroom. Without taking much of your time, let us go and listen to her story. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
She told me she will give me everything that I was looking for if only I do what she wants. I told her I would do anything she will ask of me, provided she will also make me rich beyond my understanding. She laughed and told me to finish what I came to the room to do. And when I am done, I will see what will happen. And so, I did what I went there to do with her. After the act, she asked me to turn and see something. I turned and it was a bag full of money. She told me that it belongs to me. As excited as I was, I went to the bag and checked. It was filled with different currencies. She called me and said something after showing me the money. She said that at the end of every month, she will come to my place and make love to me. That was my sacrifice for the money I am taking from her. She then told me that, because she is a jealous woman, she wouldn't like to share me with anyone. And so, she forbids me to sleep with any woman unless she tells me to. This wasn't what I bargained for. Does it mean I was to live on this earth with everything that I will have without also enjoying myself when it comes to that? Before I could ask her any other thing, she vanished and I was left all alone in the room not knowing what to do. I went out of the room to call the man I went to the place with. I told him about the instructions given to me by the Spirit. He started laughing. I asked him why he was laughing at what I was saying. He then asked me if I knew the instructions that was given to the man who introduced me to him. I told him I didn't ask him about anything like that, because he didn't talk to me about anything like that. He told me that that man also slept with the Spirit and for him, the Spirit told him to be sleeping with men too specific at the end of every month, and never to have anything to do with any woman. This was when I realized I had done myself a huge disservice. Honestly speaking, that day I was not of myself. I felt very empty and my spirit was never with me. The old man came the next morning and told me to get ready for my final spiritual bath. He said that it will make me bold and be courageous about anything that I find myself in. I really didn't want to go ahead with it. But come to think of it, I had already committed myself to it. And so, even if I decide not to do it, it won't change anything. So, I went and had that bath. After everything, he gave me a pot that, he said I should put the pot in a place where no human will be able to see apart from me. This pot, he said, it will always produce money for me whenever the Spirit comes to sleep with me. So, on our way coming, I had the bag full of money with me in the car we went with. I told the man that I cannot take the pot to my house. He asked me why, and I told him that I have a wife and child back at home. He stopped the car as soon as I said that. He looked at me for a while, and he asked me what then will I do if my wife asks to sleep with me. I replied, that is what I have been thinking all along. He then asked me if I don't want to take the pot home, what do I want to do with it? I told him I will need a simple apartment where I will keep the pot, so that I will rent the apartment and keep the thing in it. That was the only way I could avoid my wife or maybe my son seeing the pot. I didn't want to draw any attention to myself. We got back and I left the money with the man who I was working for. I couldn't possibly take the money to my house. So the very next day, I started depositing the money into my account little by little so that it does not draw any attention from the authorities. After everything, I rented an apartment, which is a single-room apartment. I did decorate the room very nicely and placed the pot under the bed I had in the room. One evening, I told my wife that I wanted to have a conversation with her. At first, She didn't want to sit down for the conversation. But I managed to persuade her to sit down so we talk. During our conversation, I asked her if I get money right now, will she continue to treat me the way she was treating me? She laughed and asked me where I was going to get the money I was talking about from. She said that, whatever it is that is going on in our marriage, was my fault and she was not to be blamed. I looked at her face and smiled. I told her that, very soon, she will regret whatever she has taken me through. She got angry after I said that and walked away from where we were having the conversation. That evening on the bed, she warned me never to tell her that ever again. She said that, whatever it is that I wanted to do, I have the right to go ahead with it. I started purchasing shops which I was going to use for the sales of phones. I bought my first shop in the business marketplace in the capital city. And this was the beginning of me living large. At this time, I had come to terms with what I have gotten myself involved with. So I needed to make myself happy. Simply because there was no turning back from that. I started to pack my stuff one after the other from the house. I did put them in the single-room apartment that I had rented for the time being. I didn't want to rush in getting a place where it wouldn't be what I like. One day, I intentionally told the man who introduced me to this life that he should come with me to the house. I will still act as though I was returning from doing the construction work. And then, will come and propose a very good deal for me in front of my wife. He agreed to go ahead with whatever I wanted. So, he came to the house and did everything as planned. He asked that he wanted to have a word with me. This time my wife had actually gone to see who was knocking on our door. He told my wife he wanted to meet me and have a conversation with me concerning some work. He told her that he was told that I was a good and trustworthy person and I can look after his businesses for him when he is outside of this country. My wife came and called me. I pretended I was asleep when she came to call me. She wanted to excuse us to have our meeting, but I told her to sit and listen to it. After the man had told me what exactly he wanted me to do, I told him I would think about it. My wife called me away from the man and asked what was there for me to think about. She said I should go and tell the man that I was ready to do whatever he wants. I did just that and the man then told me to come to his workplace the next day so he would show me what to do. Our plan worked and I started going to my own workplace, but to her, I was working for the man. She started paying much attention to me and all that she had never done for so long, she started doing that. I sometimes look at her and it pains me so much. This is because I realized that she changed because I didn't have money and now that she knows I am getting back on my feet, she wants to be a good woman to me. But then, I wouldn't let you go hungry. That one I won't do. This is because she is the mother of my child. But for the love, I don't think at that moment of my life, I had it for her. Reason is, I needed to let go of everything either than that, I might do something which will go against me. Because of the laws that were given to me when I went for money. She started trying to make love to me and I always rejected with the same energy she gave me when I was down. I would tell her that I was tired and I cannot do anything. She will beg and beg but I won't do anything with her. It got so intense that I had to move away from the house this time. So I moved into the apartment I had rented at first. And later bought a house of my own. I needed to set her free, and so one day, I told her that I wanted a divorce. This was one very difficult moment. Because she was never ready to accept the divorce. Our families came in but I still stood my grounds. I didn't like the idea of divorcing her, but I feared I might go against the laws that were given to me. And that is the only reason why I wanted the divorce. We all came into an agreement and I gave her a shop and some money. But as for my son, I still do everything for him as a father. He is with the mother. And as such, she gets all the benefits of having to raise our son. This is really what my life is now. The spirit comes to my house at night when I sleep when the time given is set and sleep with me. This has been my life now. I am giving this confession so that people out there will know that some of these things are real and is happening right here before us. Please be content with your life and do the little that you are doing. Don't let anyone push you into something that you don't know the outcome. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. Sometimes some of these stories comes in as a shock to us. Because if a human can go to the extent like this to have money, then we are capable of doing anything just to satisfy our desires. I understand the situations that leads people into some of these paths. This is the more reason why, as a person experiencing this life, you should be desperate enough. Because if you get to that point, anything that will be proposed to you as an alternative to your suffering, you will accept it without thinking carefully about the consequences. I know our followers and listeners will also share their thoughts and comments, but this kind of means to make it in life is not good. And not something that we should put our life in. Always there is going to be a but at the end of whatever that seems so much better to you. If only your wealth do come from such a source, you will always live to pay with something huge. I pray that we learn from some of these stories and live a better life. If not for anything at all, it pays to live a decent and better life. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.